Okay, so we are picking back up from the last video, and we're going to start off with adding more weapons to our weapon wheel. So I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to add 2 more weapon classes. The first one's going to be a staff. Have an inherit from weapon, define init, self, super init, and then we'll do self.name is equal to staff, and then self.image is equal to photo image, file is equal to the file name, fill color, I'm going to set this equal to blue, and then this tag is just going to be staff, lowercase, and then I'm going to do the same thing for my bow weapon. The init, super init, its name, image, and then I'm gonna set its fill color to green, and then give it a tag. Okay. So now we're gonna go back up here to our weapon wheel and add them to our weapons list. Okay. Alrighty, so now we're going to start off with drawing arcs for each of those weapons. So we're going to go underneath our if statement, and we're going to do else if the length of self.weapons is greater than 1. Alright, so now we're going to start calculating everything we need to properly draw our arcs for each weapon. Okay, so we're going to start off with extent add. So extent underscore add is equal to 360 degrees divided by the length of self.weapons. Okay, then we're going to start iterating for each weapon in self.weapons. We're going to need its index. So IDX is equal to self.weapons.index weapon. And then now we're going to start calculating the 2 sets coordinates for the arc. So, alright, the first set, we're going to start off with arc X is equal to can underscore width divided by 4. Then arc underscore Y is equal to can underscore height divided by 4. Then we'll do arc x1 is equal to can underscore width minus arc underscore x. Then arc y1 is equal to can underscore height minus arc underscore y. Okay. And now we're going to calculate the arc start. So arc start is equal to 90 degrees plus extent add times the weapon's index. Alright, now finally we are just going to create the arc. So create arc, pass in our coordinates, so arc x, arc y, arc x1, arc y1. The start is going to be equal to arc start, and then its extent is going to be equal to extent add. I'm going to give it a tag, so tags equal to weapon.tag, and we're going to give it a width of 2. Now let's save and test that. Alright, so depending on how many weapons you have in your list, that's how many different arcs you should have. So if you had 2, it'll be split down the middle, and then you'll have an arc right here and an arc right here. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and add bindings to our arc. So underneath here, all right, I'm gonna do self.tag bind weapon.tag. Want to use the enter event, lambda e comma weapon is equal to weapon colon self.fill item e weapon.tag and then weapon.fill color. Alright, so now let's do one for a leave event. So tag bind weapon.tag leave lambda e weapon is equal to weapon colon self.fill item e weapon.tag empty string. Okay, so our final tag is the left click button. So tag bind weapon.tag button -1 lambda e weapon is equal to weapon colon then self.update weapon, pass an e for event and then weapon. Alright, so now let's save and run everything. Alrighty, so whenever you enter the arcs, they should change color, and whenever you leave them, they should go back transparent. Alright, and then finally, if you click on them, they should update the weapon label here with the correct weapon. Alright, so now we're going to add our weapon images to the arc. We're going to be doing a bit of math here, so we're just going to go ahead and import the math module. Okay, so now underneath our tags here, we're going to create a comment, and I'm going to call this calculate weapon image coordinates. And we're just going to take this step by step. So step 1 is to calculate the outer circle midpoint. Okay, so center underscore x is equal to out circle x plus out circle x1 divided by 2. Then center y is equal to out circle y plus out circle y1 divided by 2. Okay, so step 2 is to calculate the midpoint angle. So midpoint underscore angle is equal to arc start plus extent underscore add divided by 2. Alright, so step 3 is to convert the midpoint angle to radians. So midpoint underscore radians is equal to math.radians, then pass in midpoint underscore angle. Alright, so step 4 is to calculate our 2 radii. Okay, so radius x is equal to out circle underscore x1 minus out circle underscore x divided by 2. Then radius y is equal to out circle underscore y1 minus out circle underscore y divided by 2. And so for step 5, we're going to have to take the image size into account. So we'll do account for image size. So we'll do radius underscore x is minus equal to weapon.image.width divided by 2. then radius underscore y is minus equal to weapon.image.height divided by 2. Okay. So step 6 is to calculate the arc midpoint. So we'll do midpoint underscore x is equal to center x plus radius x times math.cosine, passing in midpoint underscore radians. Okay, then midpoint underscore y is equal to center y minus radius y times math.sine, midpoint underscore radians. Alright, so step 7 is to account for image size again. So midpoint underscore x is minus equal to weapon.image.width divided by 2 times math.cosine, and then pass in midpoint radians. Then midpoint underscore y is plus equal to weapon.image.height divided by 2 times math.sine, passing in midpoint underscore radians. Okay. Alrighty, and so our final step is just to display the image. So we'll do self dot create image, pass in midpoint x and then midpoint y, then set the image equal to weapon.image, tags is equal to weapon.tag plus underscore image. Now let's save and run this. And so you should have all of your images in the right spot. Now let's click on it to make sure. Alright, so that's a bow, that's a sword, and that's a staff. Okay, and so of course now we have to add bindings to our image. Alright, so self.tag underscore bind weapon.tag plus underscore image. Now we enter the image, lambda e comma weapon is equal to weapon, self.fill item e weapon weapon.tag and then weapon.fill color. Alright, and I'm gonna just copy this and change a couple things. So now this is for the leave event, and for this we're going to get rid of weapon.fill color and just pass in an empty string. Then finally we're going to do button-1, and then we're going to change this entire method here to self.update underscore weapon. We pass in E and then a weapon. So I'm going to save and run. So now whenever we click on it, everything should be working relatively fine. Okay, so the last step is to make it where whatever weapon is currently selected is going to stay highlighted. Okay, so we're going to go up here to our weapon variable. I can find it. Alright, right here. And then we're going to add a trace to it. So self.weapon underscore var.trace add. And when passing right, so every time the weapon variable has something new written to it, it's going to run this method here, and we're going to call it self.trace. And so now underneath our update weapon method, we're going to add our trace method. We're going to pass in self and then some arguments. Okay. So what we're going to do here is do for each weapon in self dot weapons. If it's not self dot current underscore weapon is equal to weapon, we're going to add an arc binding. So self dot tag underscore bind weapon dot tag leave lambda e weapon is equal to weapon self dot fill item e weapon dot tag. I'm going to make it transparent. Then we're just going to go ahead and call fill item, pass in none, weapon dot tag, and then pass in an empty string to make it transparent. So what's happening here is, say for instance, if we have a weapon that's currently selected and then we select a new weapon, what we're doing here is we're adding the tag, the leave tag, to the arc, and then we're going ahead and making it transparent because it'll be highlighted. Okay, so we'll do else and then we're going to do arc unbinding. So here, what we're saying here is if the weapon is currently selected, we're taking away the leave event. So if it's currently selected, if the player's mouse leaves the arc, it's going to stay highlighted essentially. So self.tag underscore unbind weapon.tag, and then we're going to get rid of the leave event. Alright, so now let's save and run that. Okay. Oh, and I messed up somewhere on line 132. Let's see what's going on there. Oh, alright. I put a colon instead of a comma. Alright, so now let's test it out now. Alrighty, so if we click on bow, it stays highlighted. And then if we click on staff, it gets rid of this highlight and makes that highlighted. And everything seems to be working fine. Okay, so that's pretty much the end of this video and the end of this series. So thank you for watching and have a good one.